He's never gonna stop coming. Not until we're both dead.
If he's alive.
He's alive.
What is up everyone, Mule Kick Media here, and today we are going to be doing my review for Banshee Season 2. Now of course, if you haven't seen my review for Banshee Season 1, which I do recommend you go and watch, I will leave a link to that in the description so you can go ahead and watch that review, and I do recommend you watch it. And also, before I get into my review of Season 2, I'm going to presume that of course you have watched Season 1 of Banshee, because I will be referencing some spoilers that happened in Season 1, so if you haven't caught up on Season 1, click off the video, go and watch Season 1, and then come back and you'll be able to watch my review. I won't be sharing any, spoilers for Season 2, probably not until my Season 3 review, because I really do have to talk about spoilers for Season 2 then, but I'm going to keep this one Season 2 spoiler free, but I will mention some spoilers for Season 1, particularly in the finale, because it really does, because the Season 2 really does kick off like not long after the finale, so I have to really talk about that Season 1 finale if I'm going to talk about Season 2, so let's just get straight into the video. So, Banshee Season 2. Now, this was the first season of Banshee that I watched live, because of course with Banshee Season 1, I didn't watch it until around, I think, like October time, and it had already premiered in the UK, and I think like by January, so I was already about probably 9 months behind, so I didn't watch Season 1 live, like while it was airing. But with Season 2, this was the first season I was able to do so, because obviously I caught up with Season 1, and I was really hyped up for Season 2. I had very high expectations for this show, especially since I really loved the first season. I thought the first season was really, really good. And even though I didn't know how they were going to top it with the second season, I still went in with pretty high expectations, and let's just say it went past those expectations. Season 2 is better than Season 1 in practically every single way. It's just the acting, the character development, the action, the drama, and the emotion. It was just so much better and more improved than it was in Season 1, and I didn't know how on earth they were going to do that. Like, I was thinking, how on earth do you make Banshee better than what Season 1 was? And it's simple, make Season 2, because Season 2 was just amazing. It's honestly mind-blowing. Like, I can still remember just watching this back in 2014, and it just was blowing my mind as to how consistently good it was staying at every single episode. It was just amazing. So that's my little short overview, so let's get into the synopsis of the plot. So Season 2 takes place a few weeks after the events of Season 1. Hood is still recovering from the injuries he got in the Season 1 finale, and the town is kind of like it's in itself, just trying to recover from the effects of that night. It's revealed that Rabbit is still out there. He didn't die at the end of Season 1, that he's still alive. And Hood and Carrie essentially try to track down Rabbit and settle things once and for all. And it kind of is like the reverse of Season 1, because whereas in Season 1, it was under always being worried about, Rabbit finding Hood and Carrie. This time it's about Hood and Carrie attempting to find Rabbit and finish him off, which I thought was a very good twist. Rabbit doesn't play as big a role in this season as he did in Season 1, but it was still nice to see him still involved in the story. Although the story with Rabbit doesn't really pick up until in the latter half of Season 2, because in the first half, you very rarely see him, and he's not really the main focus of the plot, and rather, like, the main overall arcing plot of the season is essentially the Kanaho going up against Proctor, because at the end of Season 1, Proctor destroyed the casino that the Kanaho were going to build in Banshee, and as a result, it causes this rift between these two, gangs, and essentially Hood is caught up in the middle of it, because he essentially has to try and defuse the situation without siding with one particular enemy, because he doesn't want either of these people to win secretly, because he knows that they are corrupt and they're both not going to do good for the city, but he has to essentially try to defuse this whole situation. And Season 2 really is about Hood trying to ask himself the question of, is he really pretending to be a sheriff? Because Season 1 was all about trying to trick everyone into thinking that, oh yeah, I'm the sheriff. You've got to make all these people think I am. By the start of Season 2, everyone is convinced that he is. So the big question Hood has to ask himself is, is he really pretending if he loves this job so much? And he starts to move on from Carrie, because essentially at the end of season 1 they kind of both accepted, him and Carrie, that they couldn't be together, and so as a result he starts having a relationship with Deputy Siobhan Kelly, which was something they were kind of setting up in the first season, but I was so happy that they got together because it was just awesome, and I thought that when they were on screen, it was just awesome to see, the back and forth between them, but also the context behind it. It felt genuine. It didn't feel as if, it was just thrown in there because, she's the only female on the show he hasn't had sex with. But no, it felt, organic. It felt real, and how they were together and how their relationship grew, and it was awesome seeing them together on screen. And also, Carrie essentially is put to, I think, 30 days in prison after the events of the season 1 finale, because she's found, guilty of like a load of charges, and she's put into prison for 30 days. And essentially, it's all about, the big thing I can say about Banshee season 2 is it's very, mixed with the story. There isn't one specific massive overarching plot, throughout the whole season. There's just these little intricate plots that, pop up every now and then, but are really interesting. Because with season 1, the main overarching plot was there's criminals in a town, he's pretending to be a cop, he's hiding from another mob boss, and he is after him, and he needs to lay down low. And that was the thing throughout the whole of this season. Whereas with season 2, the main overarching plot doesn't really kick in until probably the halfway point, but the plots that you get beforehand are just really well done, and are also really intriguing, and that's what I really liked. When a show is able to give so many other plots, but give enough, depth into them and good writing that you care for them, then that's when a show is amazing. And even when this main plot kicks in after the halfway point, it's just as engrossing, and it was just awesome to see, how it was able to do that, how it was able to have all these many plots, but then also have the big plot of the season kick in, but also feel just as rich. Another thing that I really liked about season 2's plot as well was how it was able to bring in more backstory for these characters who you really learned a bit about in season 1, but in season 2 you get to see them way more fleshed out. A good example for these are definitely Siobhan Kelly and Emmett Yornes, who are of course the other two deputies at the police department. Those two get a lot more backstory and character development this season. They play a much bigger role, which I'm very happy to see. I mean, after this season, Siobhan Kelly probably became one of my favourite characters on the show. I really liked what they did with her this season. I mean, I liked her in season 1, but season 2, she's just even better. And with Emmett as well, particularly during the latter half of season 2, got some really good stuff, and I was just so happy with what they did. But it wasn't just those two. They do it for other characters as well, exploring more of their backstory. And I thought that was really cool, how they were able to do that. And so that's my synopsis of the plots and everything else that happens, the story, whatever you want to call it. Let's just get into my pros and cons of this season. Now, first of all, like I just said, the storytelling was much more improved this season, not just in terms of the emotional aspect, but also in terms of how they were able to write it and pull it off. I felt the writing was a lot better this season. I mean, it was already good in season 1, but season 2 it was really good of how it was able to, merge these characters together so well. Another thing that I also really liked about Season 2 as well was the action. The action was even better in Season 2, and what I also loved was the great editing choices they used in some of these action sequences. Like, they were just so well edited. Like, a favourite one of mine is at the end of Episode 2, where they have these two fights intercutting with each other, but they are done so well. It's easily probably one of my favourite fight scenes in the whole show. And of course, I'm not going to spoil what it is, but by the end of episode 2, you will understand what I mean. It's just a great fight sequence. It's just so fun. And bear in mind, Season 2 is probably, Episode 2 with Season 2 is probably my favourite episode of Banshee ever, so I'm probably biased on saying that, but I just love that episode so much, and that fight sequence, and just the fights in general, were just so awesome. I mean, that's what Banshee always does so well. The action is always amazing. I mean, even the truck heist that they do in the pilot episode is just crazy. It's so well filmed. Like, how they film this action is crazy. I mean, it gets even better in Season 3, but with Season 2, still amazing action. Like, seriously, how this show doesn't win awards for the production that goes into the action sequences, it's crazy. It's so good. and you'll be blown away by the stuff you see. It's really, really good. I also quite like the new characters that they brought in with this season as well. Particularly Agent Racine. He comes into the show very early on, and you think, oh, he's an idiot and he's very, a bit stupid. He isn't really aware of what's going on. But as you go on throughout the show, you begin to realize that he's actually very focused in what he wants, and that he's not really bothered about dealing out punishment. He's more about trying to find Rabbit, and he has its own personal goals. And like I said, over the course of the season, preferably in the latter half, you really do get to understand his character a lot more. And also, if you watch the Banshee Origins, like short episodes that I think are actually on the DVD, if you go on the first disc, they're all on there, and I do recommend you watch them because they do flesh out the story a lot more. You really do realize how much time he spent of his life trying to stop Rabbit and why he's so focused, and it explains his character so well. And I thought he was a really good character to put in. Another character I also really liked that they added was Fat Al. He doesn't show up until the finale, but he was such an amazing character. He was so funny. And there's the new characters they brought in I thought were really good. And also Chayton, who plays like a small role in this. He only shows up in a few episodes, but he's kind of like the Native American answer to the albino from season 1, and he was awesome. I mean, the fight sequence with him was amazing, and he does come back in season 3. I won't spoil how, but his character was already great in season 2, and it really did feel like it was a big and very good setup for him becoming a major player in season 3. And the other positive I can have with season 2 as well was also the finale. Hands down, one of the best finales for a season of a TV show. It was amazing, the finale was. Like, season 1's finale was really good, but season 2's was even better. Like, I loved how they wrapped up the, Carrie, Hood, and Rabbit storyline, how they wrapped it all up in one episode. It was so well done. It was really, really well paced, and also how they were able to incorporate the flashbacks into the episode as well, and essentially like finish both sides of the story were just so good. I mean, I was happy that they ended that storyline this season, because I think if they had dragged it out to the 3rd season, it would have gone a bit tedious. But I liked how they got over that storyline, but it still felt like it made sense to carry on the show afterwards. And I felt like that was really good. The climax we got to that and the finale was really good. And also, like, the episodes were amazing. They didn't feel like filler. They all felt very relevant to the plot. I mean, even episode 5, which some Banshee fans do have a bit of a... they don't really like it that much because it's a bit slower paced. But I really liked that episode of how it was so story-centric. And yeah, there wasn't all that much action, and not a whole lot went on, but in terms of the story, it's probably one of the richest episodes in the series for story, and I really appreciated that. And I thought that was really good, how they did that. And of course, I just liked those slower paced episodes. I like it when a show that's so predominantly action-based has its moments to just, pause and, just be able to tell a really good story, and also, really make you care even more about these characters. Season 2, episode 5 really kind of goes on the same tone as what season 4 eventually takes on, because season 4 doesn't have that much action in it, but it's a lot more character and story focused, and that's what episode 5 was, and I really liked that episode. I liked all the episodes, but I felt like I wanted to point out that one because it's an episode that a lot of people just write off as, oh, it's boring, there's no action in it, it's awful. I really liked that episode, and I really appreciated the change in tone that they went with that episode. But yeah, that's my pros for this season, or at least the ones that stand out for me. And I don't have any cons for this season at all. Like, that there is literally none I can think of for this season, just like season 1. I feel like this season is literally within, like, touching distance of being a 10 out of 10 flawless. Like, it's ridiculous how good this season was. So with my final verdict, I'm going to give Banshee Season 2 a 9.8 out of 10. I really felt like this season was somehow able to top Season 1 in my every single way. Such an improvement in just every single department. It was just so well paced, great acting and characters. I like the new additions they brought in. The action sequences were amazing, and it was just overall an amazing season of an amazing show.
Hey.
And yet again, like I was with season 1, I was thinking to myself, how on earth do you get better than
You
this?
get used
And
to it.
Season 3 just rolls around the corner and just blitzes season
found
2.
Rabbit yet?
But we're going to talk more
Not
about
yet.
that in my season 3
He's not
review.
dead.
So
I know.
that's it for my review of season 2. Thank you all
Well,
for
you
watching the
did for
video. Like I
Max.
said, please
I
go
did
and
it for
watch
you.
this show because it's just absolutely amazing. And hope you'll enjoy the review and hope to see you again for the next video.
Yeah, he won't let me